The biting November wind howled across Harrowgate Moors, tearing at Ilias Thorne's threadbare coat as he trudged toward the desolate village of Hollow Creek. A historian by trade, Ilias had come to Hollow Creek chasing whispers, rumors of a chilling phenomenon that had plagued the village almost 2 centuries ago: the Devil's March. Local legend, half forgotten and dismissed as folklore by most, spoke of a series of inexplicable footprints appearing in the snow one bleak winter. They stretched for miles, traversing fields and rooftops, defying logic and gravity. Villagers, steeped in fear, attributed them to the devil himself, come to claim souls. Ilias, however, saw a puzzle, a historical anomaly begging to be understood. Hollow Creek lived up to its name. A scattering of crumbling stone cottages huddled together like frightened sheep, their windows dark and empty. A thick fog, smelling of damp earth and decay, clung to the ground, making the already oppressive atmosphere even more suffocating. He found the only inn, the Crooked Spoon, a dilapidated structure with a flickering lamp casting anemic light onto the muddy lane. The innkeeper, a gaunt man named Silas with eyes that seemed to have seen too much, eyed Ilias with suspicion. After much coaxing and the promise of payment, Silas grudgingly shared what he knew of the Devil's March. His voice, a raspy whisper, painted a vivid picture of terror and dread. "The prints," he said, weren't just any footprints. They were cloven, like those of a goat, and they radiated an unnatural cold that withered anything they touched. Ilias spent the next few days poring over old parish records and town archives, stored in a damp, mold-infested room above the inn. He discovered entries detailing the growing hysteria, the failed attempts to exorcise the demon, and the gradual abandonment of the village. He found maps depicting the alleged path of the footprints, leading seemingly nowhere and everywhere at once. One map, sketched by the former village vicar, Father Benedict, caught his attention. It marked a spot deep within the moor, the Devil's Altar. Driven by a mixture of academic curiosity and a creeping unease, Ilias ventured out onto the moor. The landscape was bleak and unforgiving, a tapestry of gnarled trees, wind-swept hither, and treacherous bogs. The fog was thicker here, swirling around him like spectral figures. As he approached the location marked on the map, a palpable sense of dread washed over him. The air grew colder, and the silence was broken only by the mournful cry of unseen birds. He found it, a circle of standing stones, ancient and weathered, surrounding a flat, moss-covered rock, the Devil's Altar. He ran his hand over the cold stone, feeling a strange vibration beneath his fingertips. Suddenly, the fog began to writhe and coalesce, forming grotesque shapes in his peripheral vision. He heard whispers on the wind, fragments of forgotten prayers and anguished cries. A wave of nausea washed over him, and he stumbled back, his heart pounding in his chest. And then he saw them. Footprints. Not just any footprints, but cloven impressions pressed into the frozen ground, leading away from the altar and into the swirling fog. They were fresh, impossibly fresh, as if made moments before. He followed them, compelled by a morbid fascination. The fog grew thicker, the whispers louder, and the temperature plummeted. The footprints led him to a crumbling, half-buried church, its steeple silhouetted against the pale sky. The heavy oak doors creaked open as he approached, inviting him in. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of decay and incense. The altar was overturned, the pews splintered, and the stained glass windows shattered. A figure stood at the far end of the nave, cloaked in shadow. As Ilias drew closer, the figure turned, revealing a face that was both human and monstrous. Its eyes burned with hellish fire, and its mouth twisted into a grotesque grin. The figure raised a hand, and Elias felt an unbearable pressure building in his head. He saw visions of the past, of the villagers driven mad by fear, of Father Benedict performing desperate rituals to banish the evil. He understood then, the Devil's March wasn't just a phenomenon, it was a manifestation of the village's collective fear, given form by the ancient stones. The altar wasn't a place of worship, it was a conduit, a gateway for something dark and malevolent. A figure lunged, its clawed hand reaching for him. Elias screamed, a primal sound of terror that echoed through the empty church. He stumbled back, tripping over a fallen pew. He scrambled to his feet and fled, the figure's laughter echoing behind him. He didn't stop running until he reached the edge of the moor, the lights of Hollow Creek a distant beacon in the darkness. He never looked back. He left the village the next morning, abandoning his research, his curiosity replaced by a chilling certainty. He knew the Devil's March wasn't just a legend. It was a curse, a stain on the land that would never be washed away, and he had walked in its footprints. Years later, Elias would still wake up in cold sweats, haunted by the memory of the cloven prince and the monstrous figure in the church. He knew with a chilling certainty that the devil still marched on Harrowgate Moors, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to follow his tracks.